On March 21st, 2015, I took an oath by which I affirmed that I will strive to be, to the best of my ability, to uphold, protect, and defend the supreme law, the Constitution of the Republic of Namibia, and to faithfully obey, execute, and administer the laws of the Republic of Namibia. In addition to the public oath that I took as head of the Namibian House, Article 42 of the Namibian Constitution states that, and I quote, during their tenure of office as members of cabinet, which I am heading, as you know, ministers may not take up any other paid employment, engage in activities inconsistent with their position as ministers, or expose themselves to any situation which carries with it the risk of conflict developing between their interests as ministers and their private interests, unquote. In view of the aforesaid, it is clear that in administering a nation, one has to be transparent and accountable. It is for this reason that I have decided to declare my assets in public for your scrutiny. My track record is as proponent of transparency and ethical behavior in government can be traced back to my first tenure as the Prime Minister of Namibia, when I initiated a program to look into the issues of ethical behavior in government. This was done in collaboration with the Attorney General, Advocate Ruko, the first Attorney General we had, later replaced by Advocate Rukoro, supported by Ms. Advocate Baines Governors, who was the ombudsperson, and at that time, and several prominent experts in field of law and ethics. This initiative culminated in a well-attended conference which looked at various aspects such as corruption, theft, embezzlement, and other unethical behavior in government. Therefore, it is not an idea that I latched on to recently, but it is an idea that I have carried with me for several decades. To set the scene for my declaration of my asset, which focuses narrowly on my current asset base, I would like to provide some personal insights that led to the current status on my personal net asset value. I understand the current milieu under which we find ourselves and the mammoth income disparity between the rich and poor, the haves and the have-nots. I am familiar with the hardship in life. In 1962, I went into exile, entering Botswana and began working for the SWAPO party. While in Botswana, I ended up sleeping outside in the cold for 1.5 years with only one blanket as a cover. That time took its toll on me to the point where I have a very sensitive test until today. I'm very sensitive with my cold. And that was caused by sleeping outside in the cold with one blanket for 1.5 years. one blanket as a cover and also as a bed. I ended up in the United States of America in 1964, appointed by the party leadership to be the SWAPO representative to the UN. While there, I carried out dual responsibilities of attending the SWAPO party business while schooling on a scholarship of US and allowance and stipends of $150. I and Honorable Hitipo Amutenya used our scholarship money to finance the publishing of the SWAPO Information Bulletin in the USA. This continued until my appointment to the United Nations Secretariat by SWAPO through founding President Comrade Sam Nyoma in 1972, where I was employed on a salary grading of P2, P3. This presented me an opportunity for the first time in my life to earn a decent income of about $2,000 per month, or roughly the equivalent of Namibian dollars 50,000 in today's money. Following this period, I was assigned to Lusaka, Zambia, to set up and head the United Nations Institute for Namibia, where I earned a D2 salary. D2 is a level, and about the salary, about $141,550 per annum, and ending at $156,810 per annum since I was there for 14 years. This is equivalent to around 1.9 million Namibian dollars at current value. Given the salary scale, I asked the SWAPO executive at the time that what should I do with this money? I offered to give the money to SWAPO and I could get allowance. Or what do I do? And I was informed, take the money, we'll know what to do with it. So therefore, I was paid that salary for 14 years, and as you know, I had to resign and come back on the 19th of July or June 1989. During this period, I set up a fund using money from my salary where all SWAPO members could contribute towards the cause of taking care of our veterans. The first veterans whose legs were amputated were brought to Lusaka, and from that funds we provided them with limbs. Furthermore, we used to send money to Angola from that fund to take care of other comrades. On my return to Namibia, I was appointed, after a long campaign, of course, of elections, as the Prime Minister, a position I held for 12 years before a 2-year stint at the World Bank at management level, where I received a monthly income of about $18,000 net, no tax, per month, equivalent to $216,000 Namibian dollars at the current value. I was fortunate to take a good investment decision to buy a house in one of the affluent suburbs known as Potomac in Maryland for $1.025 million, which I sold it as an investment. I knew I was not going to stay in the United States. I was going just there to change that scene after I left my office as Prime Minister. So I wanted to adjust. And I knew I was going to come back, and I said I must invest by buying a house. Yes, I sold that house just prior to subprime housing crisis for 1.4 million. The profit derived from this sale obviously added to my asset base. In addition to the house in the USA, I had also bought a plot in Venture earlier in 1989 at a price of $500,000 Namibian dollars, totaling 12 hectares, of which I later on sold 9 hectares to help me complete the building of current house where I am. In 1992, I also purchased a farm for 1.4 million, now valued at about 4 to 5 million through a commercial loan. I didn't go through affirmative action loan. I got my loan from NetBank. You can go and check it. However, as can be seen, these are all fixed assets, and does not mean that I did not experience cash flow problems. During most of this time, I relied on temporary overdraft facilities until I sold 39 hectares as ordered by the court as a settlement. I was married out of community property, but property we accrued were jointly owned. So the farm, the plot, and plots we had in Swakopmund were divided. First, I took the house, the farm, so that's the area in which I was born, and then I gave my former wife the plots in Swakopmund, and then the joint plot adjacent to my current property had to be sold and divided in equal amounts. So that cash, before I release now my report, let me state that this is not an exercise I'm undertaking in order to look holy. But before I say that also, the amount that we had to share was basically for the children. It's true that we are trying to get land today. Land is an issue for young people. Many of the ministers, many of us have children also. And in our case, since we're already empowered, some of us bought land. We didn't ask for settlement. We went to the courts and took the loan to buy the land on which we can then give our children to settle. So we helped the government even by going to the banks and taking the loan to buy the property that we're talking about. Otherwise, I could have claimed as a former fighter, a formerly previously disadvantaged person, to be settled. Why not? But we decided to go, since we're already empowered by being appointed as ministers from 21st of March 1990. We must have saved some money, and therefore I bought my property that way. Now, I would like to move on to declare the assets. And to help us, we had engaged a well-known, internationally known company. You know it as a Pricewaterhouse. PwC. Somebody is here. They have issued this statement to show you what they have done. And I have a document. What is it? Oh, it's there. Yes. I don't know whether I have to read it, but you are going to get a copy of this declaration that I have signed on today, 20 May 2015. That will mean that I have declared my assets, helped by them, and by the way, tomorrow I'll be in office for 2 months only. I'm a newcomer. But I'm declaring these assets. You'll get a copy, and it is listing all my accounts, everything on page 5. You will see my bank accounts, balances, if there are balances, everything is there. There is nothing hidden. You're going to get a copy. And are we distributing copies now? Are we having copies? I need to give it to journalists. So I'm not going to read it unless you ask me to, but it will be too long. But this is a declaration. I'm giving 1 copy to Chief Justice to file in the Supreme Court. He is now the acting Chief Justice. And I already gave you the copy. Then I'm giving a copy to our policeman on these matters, so that he can take it and scrutinize it and see where there are loopholes maybe. I'm helping him to further go on to see what I'm saying is true. So I also gave him a copy. And you, the press, will get copies, as I said. My people are behind maybe. So, total net, you may say, why is he talking? What is the total value? What is he worth? Now, if you look at my assets, the bank balances, which were held by sale of the land, as I said, the property, I will say net value is about 50, 51, around there. Million, of course. So that's what Hage is worth. It's for you to now look into this report and verify or dispute. With that, I'll end, but it will be unfair, of course, for you to ask questions, but I'm told you already did your job, so you will still ask me questions. So, can we distribute the paper, or don't you have it? Yeah, still copy. Oh. So, since you have been making a lot of stories anyway, here I am. Now ask me. All the rumors, all what you have been talking about, today is the day. Here I am now exposing myself, undressing myself in public, because I have a public office. That's why I'm sitting here. So please, the floor is yours, and you can start putting questions from your rumors you are hearing and all other things. Thank you very much.